Welland is a city in the Regional Municipality of Niagara in southern Ontario, Canada. The city is located in the center of Niagara. Within a half-hour or less, residents can travel to Niagara Falls, Niagara-On-The-Lake, St. Catharines, Port Colborne and Buffalo. It has been traditionally known as the place where rails and water meet, referring to the railways from Buffalo to Toronto and southwestern Ontario, and the waterways of Welland Canal and Welland River, which played a great role in the city's development. The city is separated by the Welland River and Welland Canal, which links Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Welland is the home of C Company of the Lincoln and Welland Regiment, which is part of 32 Canadian Brigade Group. The classification of this unit is light infantry. Welland's nickname is the Rose City. History. The city was first settled in 1788 by the United Empire Loyalists. On the 19th of October 1814, Canadian forces led by George Hay, 8th Marquess of Tweeddale, met an American raiding party, numbering approximately 900, near the eastern edge of the present community during the Battle of Cook's Mills. After an intense skirmish, the Americans retreated to Buffalo, New York. Cook's Mills was the second-to-last engagement of the War of 1812 on Canadian soil. The Welland Canal is involved in the history of the area ever since the first Welland Canal was extended to reach Lake Erie in 1833. A wooden aqueduct was built to carry the Welland Canal over the Welland River at what is now downtown Welland, and the area became known as simply Aqueduct. A lock to cross from the canal to the river and vice versa was also built. A small shanty town soon developed around the facility, providing essential services in what was a convenient stopover location. The growing town was later named Merrittsville, after William Hamilton Merritt, the initiator of the Welland Canal project. This name is still reflected today in the name of the Merrittville Highway, which served as the primary north-south route in central Niagara before the construction of Highway 406. Welland gained its present name when it was incorporated on July 25, 1858. It became a city in 1917. In addition to the presence of the canal itself, one of the few railway crossings across the canal was also located near Welland. The two factors contributed greatly to the development of heavy industry in Welland. The Plymouth Cordage Company was the first major industrial company to open a plant in Welland in 1906. By the 1930s, Welland was an important industry location in the region and was developing rapidly. In the 1960s, the city was starting to outgrow the canal passing through its core. The Welland Bypass project, started in 1967 and finished in 1973, provided a new, shorter alignment for the Welland Canal by removing it from downtown Welland to the outskirts of the city. With the completion of the bypass, the east end of Welland became a virtual man-made island, lying between the new and old canal channels. Originally, this was viewed with enthusiasm as the constant traffic on the canal was interfering heavily with transportation within the city. The old alignment of the canal was renamed the Welland Recreational Waterway with the purpose of developing several recreational facilities and tourist attractions along its shores. The original plans called for fishing platforms, water slides, boat rental points, as well as marine and rail historical exhibits. The effects of the canal relocation were compounded by the gradual, but steady move of industry out of Welland as a trend for global manufacturing was developing. As a result, there was much deterioration in downtown Welland in the years immediately following the project. Many businesses relocated to the north end of the city, where a retail hub was being developed in and around the Seaway Mall. the city of Welland working to revitalize the downtown core through an ongoing community improvement plan. Integral to the program is the use of incentives to promote revitalization and redevelopment. However, a report published by the City of Welland in 2013 examined the effectiveness of this strategy, and stated, for over 10 years now, these programs have produced only very moderate uptake and development since being introduced. Government. The current mayor of Welland is Frank Campion. The Welland City Council is made up of the mayor and 12 councillors, each elected in his or her ward. There are 6 wards in Welland, each of which elects 2 councillors. The mayor and 2 regional councillors, George Marshall and Peter Cormos. Another representative of Welland has for the meantime filled Peter's seat since late May 2013, to represent the city on Niagara Regional Council. The city is responsible for fire protection, libraries, parks and recreation and secondary streets. But many municipal services come instead from the broader level of government, the Niagara region. Regional responsibilities include social welfare, community health, and policing through the Niagara Regional Police. The chief local political issue is the redevelopment of the downtown core area, which has been deteriorating in the years following the Welland Bypass project. The Civic Square project has been completed after spanning the terms of 3 city councils and 3 mayors. The new building, facing both East Main Street and the Old Canal, houses the City Hall and the Welland Public Library. The project is proving to be a catalyst for development, as several new establishments have been opened downtown and some current business are expanding. Welland is represented in the House of Commons of Canada by the Liberal Party Member of Parliament Vance Badowley, and in the Legislative Assembly of Ontario by the NDP Member of Provincial Parliament Cindy Forster, representing the federal and the provincial ridings of Welland. Demographics. During the 2011 census, the population of Welland was determined to be 50,631, making Welland the 96th largest city in Canada. The population rose from 50,331 in the 2006 census. According to the 2001 census, 95.5% of the population is Caucasian, 1.7% Aboriginal, 1.1% Black, 0.2% Korean, and 0.3% of other Asian descent. 17.7% of inhabitants are under the age of 14, while those over 65 account for 16.9%. Another significant cultural group was established with the opening of the Plymouth cordage plant. Many workers relocated to Welland from the company's operations in Plymouth, Massachusetts were of Italian origin. To minimize the potential effects of cultural and language barriers, Plymouth Cordage sent 4 foremen to Welland. 1 was Italian, 1 French, 1 German and 1 English. The neighborhood that the company built for its employees became the first Italian ethnic neighborhood in Welland. The top 5 largest ethnic groups include English 24.9%, French 23.3%, Scottish 14.4%, Italian 13.3%, and Irish 13.1%. There are also many people of Eastern European origin from countries like Croatia, Hungary, and Poland, as well as a growing Hispanic community. In 1914, a local business called Empire Cotton Mills was bought by a Quebec-based company. They brought in 20 Francophone families to work in the mill, giving a start to a French-speaking community still very alive in the city today. Welland is one of only 3 communities in southern Ontario where Franco-Ontarians, as a percentage of the community's population, exceed the provincial average of 4.8%. Many schools, churches, banks, business and other institutions operate or offer services in French. Education. Like the rest of Ontario, Welland has access to 4 public education systems: the Regional School Boards of the Niagara Catholic District School Board and the District School Board of Niagara, the Conseil Scolaire de District du Centre-Sud-Ouest and the Conseil Scolaire de District Catholic Centre-Sud also operates schools in Welland. There are 20 elementary schools and 5 secondary schools in Welland. Of these, 4 elementary schools and 2 secondary schools are part of French language boards. All schools offer education in French to some extent. The Niagara Catholic District School Board operates 6 elementary schools within the city, including Alexander Kuska KSG, Holy Name, St. Andrew Street, Augustine, St. Kevin and St. Mary, each offering kindergarten through to grade 8. The board also operates 1 secondary school in the city, Notre Dame, which offers grade 9 through to grade 12. Continuing education courses are also offered by the board at its Father Patrick H. Fogarty Learning Centre within the city. The District School Board of Niagara operates 10 elementary schools within the city and 2 secondary schools. Welland Centennial servicing the western side of the city and Eastdale Secondary servicing the eastern side. Thanks to the large population of francophones, both the Conseil Scolaire de District du Centre-Sud-Ouest and the Conseil Scolaire de District Catholic Centre-Sud operate elementary and secondary schools in Welland. École Secondaire Confédération and École Secondaire Catholique Jean Vanier are the only French public and French Catholic, respectively, secondary schools in the Niagara region. Jean Vanier relocated to a new building in the north end of the city in 2010, adjacent to a proposed municipal sports park. Due to the abundance of French schools, it is not unusual for parents to opt for French language education for the children, even if only one and neither of the parents have French heritage. The process further strengthens the bilingual character of Welland. A campus of Niagara College of Applied Arts and Technology is located in Welland. The college offers post-secondary diplomas, baccalaureate degrees and advanced-level programs. Economy. Welland, because of its proximity to the Sir Adam Beck hydroelectric station at Niagara Falls, was historically known for its steel, automotive, and textile industries. Initially, manufacturing firms were the biggest employers in Welland. The plants of companies like Union Carbide, United Steel, Plymouth Cordage Company, 3-Drop Forges, a cotton mill, and the Atlas Steel Co., as well as general manufacturing plants, had big influence on shaping early Welland, while recent years saw the end of Welland operations for several companies, such as John Deere, which announced in September 2008 that it would be closing its plant and relocating manufacturing to Wisconsin and Mexico. Businesses such as Lakeside Steel continues to employ residents. The Atlas Steel Co. was founded at some time in the 1920s. Roy H. Davis and Partners bought the Welland plant from its American shareholders in 1928. Gun barrels were produced here during the Second World War. It was for a time Canada's largest manufacturer of stainless steel. The plant housed a vacuum smelter line, necessarily for the production of titanium. The onset of the Canada-FTA, NAFTA, GATT and globalization brought decline, and subsequently the ownership changed hands numerous times. The Sami Group acquired it in 1989, followed by Slater Steels of Mississauga in 2000, who went bankrupt in 2003. The plant was finally torn down in 2007. The Canadian branch plant of the Plymouth Cordage Company was started in 1904 due to Parliament's initiation of a 25% import duty on rope and related products. Plymouth, with roots in Massachusetts, moved to secure its business in binding twine necessary to package farm crops such as grass, wheat and straw. The city of Welland grew up around the Plymouth plant, which was prior to 1904 farmland. The cordage industry was a victim of the harvester-thresher, which obviated the need for binding twine, as the thrashing operation is now performed in a contiguous step immediately when the stalk is cut. Due to a large concentration of francophones in the city and resulting large degree of bilingualism, the city has been successful in bringing several call centers to Welland. Correspondingly, Canadian Tire Financial Services is Welland's largest employer, employing over 1,600 people in 2 centers. Welland's electricity comes from the Sir Adam Beck hydroelectric generation plants at Niagara Falls via Welland Hydro. Thanks to the presence of the massive plant, power remained on in over half of Welland during the 2003 North America blackout until rolling blackouts began the next day in an effort to provide power to areas that hadn't had it for nearly 24 hours. Geography. Welland is located in the center of South Niagara. Over the years, urban growth has all but united the northwest part of Welland with the community of Fonthill. Prior to the Welland Bypass project, the Welland Canal cut through the center of Welland. As a result, a very prominent split was created between the east side and the west side of the city. The west side grew primarily to the north, while the east side expanded south. The west side also became the more affluent of the two. Today, even though the canal traffic no longer causes regular interruption in the traffic across the city, the channel lives on as Welland recreational waterway. The waterway still serves as a very prominent visual feature dividing the city, and it is perhaps for this reason that the east side-west side division is still very much alive in the minds of Wellanders. East side and west side are very commonly used as basic directions. The communities of Cooks Mills and Dain City have their own separation stories. Cooks Mills, located on the other side of the bypass channel than the rest of Welland, has arguably been protected against the impact of urban sprawl, but the necessity of using one of the 2 highway tunnels to cross the canal causes some residents to head to nearby Niagara Falls instead. Dain City, located in the south of the city where the 2 channels meet, is separated by the massive approaches to the town line tunnel required to provide the low grade for the rail lines that use the tunnel. Dain City was built for and by the Dain Manufacturing Company, the main employer in the area as a company town. John Deere announced in September 2008 that it would be closing its plant and relocating manufacturing to Wisconsin and Mexico. There is a slight movement to develop the northern end of the east side, an undeveloped area. A community named Hunters Point is being built close to the banks of the bypass, and the area received further investment when a new Walmart store opened on Woodlawn Road close to Highway 406. Technically, both the east side and Dain City are peninsulas, surrounded by the waters of the old and new channels of the Welland Canal and connected to solid ground only by the relatively small plug in the old canal along the town line tunnel approaches. A man-made geographic feature is the Merritt Island, a strip of land approximately 5 kilometers long and, in some places, less than 100 meters wide. The island was created when the alignment of the first Welland Canal was constructed basically parallel to the Welland River, and since the abandonment of the old canal has been established as Merritt Park, featuring a popular 4-kilometer-long paved trail. Climate. Welland experiences a humid continental climate typical of the Great Lakes region, with cold, snowy winters, mild, wet springs, warm, humid summers, and cool, wet falls. The winter is the driest season, with no more than 77.8 millimeters of precipitation in its wettest month, though, due to lake effect snow, the city receives, on average, 97.8 centimeters of snow every winter. The average temperature in January, the coldest month, is -4.7 degrees Celsius. Spring is mild on average, and rainy of rain in April, May and June, also with 5.4 centimeters of snow in April and May. Summer is warm, with an average high temperature of 24.5 degrees Celsius and humid, with 251 millimeters of total rainfall. Autumn is cool and wet of total precipitation. The extreme high and low temperatures are 37.8 degrees Celsius recorded on the 4th of July 1911, the 1st of July 1931, the 26th of August 1948, and -32.8 degrees Celsius recorded on the 25th of January 1884. Daily precipitation extremes include a rainfall of 118.4 millimeters on the 30th of September 1959, and a snowfall of 81.3 centimeters on the 1st of March 1900. One of the worst winter storms to affect the Welland area was in January 1977 when the blizzard of 77 hit Niagara and western New York from the 28th of January to the 1st of February 1977. Parks. Notable parks are Chippewa Park, an older, well-developed park in the northwest, Memorial Park, a newer park in the southeast, a Merritt Island Park along the Canal. Chippewa Park has rolling hills, mature specimen trees, playgrounds, a large pond, and small ornamental fish pond in a formal rose garden. It features a large war memorial carved from Le Cassé granite and designed by a famous Canadian sculptor, Elizabeth Winwood. Memorial Park was a project of the 1967 centennial. It is very flat with younger trees. It has an outdoor pool shaped like a figure 8. There is also a cenotaph at this park. In the late 1960s, the eastern part of the park was used for the Welland Canal bypass. Patrons of the park can often see ships passing through the bypass. At the heart of the old city of Welland, near the Main Street Bridge, the Welland River passes under the old Welland Canal, then runs parallel to it for a few miles. Between the old canal and the river lies a long narrow strip of land referred to as Merritt Island that is now a park. The end of the park closest to the center of the city has picnic tables and playground equipment. The island also includes a main trail that follows the bank of the old canal for the entire length of the park, with a variety of intermittent side paths and trails. Welland Canal Trails. The Welland Canal Parkway Trail is a paved recreational path beginning in the city of St. Catharines at Lake Ontario and ending at Lake Erie in Port Colborne. The sections of the trail located within Welland are paved. The trail follows alongside the Welland Ship and Recreational Canals, and passes through downtown Welland.